In the heart of New Delhi's bustling, crowded Connaught Place stands DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery. It is not just a place for displaying, buying and selling art, the usual activities associated with an art gallery. For the last 70 years, it has also been a meeting place for artists and a place for discovering and nurturing young talent. DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery had a fortuitous beginning. It started in 1936 as DHOOMIMAL Dharamdas at 8A Connaught Place as a high-quality printing and stationery shop. One of the items it specialized in was the printing of greeting cards with Indian motifs and images. The search for original Indian images brought DHOOMIMAL Dharamdas in contact with the Indian artists. A young scion of the distinguished Jain family that owned this shop soon realized that there was hardly any place in Delhi where the artists could buy art materials. And thus, DHOOMIMAL Dharamdas started keeping art materials primarily for helping the artists, rather than as a viable business line.
What are your earliest memories of DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery?
My mother was, apart from being a Hindi writer and musician, she also painted. And I would sort of trip along to this nearest and probably only place where you could find artist material in A block.
I think it grew out of the stationery shop because artists had to come and buy their stuff here. It evolved into a talking place, an adda of artists.
The young man who had come up with the idea of keeping art materials at the stationery shop was Ramchandra. He was then hardly 20 years old. He had an instinctive fascination for art and the company of artists, who used to affectionately call him Ram Babu. Ram Babu's earliest known ancestor, Seth DHOOMIMAL, had settled down in Chandni Chowk of Old Delhi around 1860. In the aftermath of the Great Revolt of 1857, a lot of noblemen, artisans, poets and musicians associated with the Mughal court had fled Delhi. They had left behind their beautiful havelis and stately mansions. Seth DHOOMIMAL acquired a haveli from one of the court musicians. Over the next few decades, the presence of the family in Chandni Chowk became so dominant that a whole street came to be known as Katra DHOOMIMAL, after one of the famous successors of Mathura Das. Later generations of Seth DHOOMIMAL diversified into making of traditional ledgers, trading in paper and printing business. Branches of the family are still engaged in the printing business. Ram Babu was perhaps the first person in the family to combine his interest in art with the traditional family business. Ram Babu's passion for art took him on a journey that was unusual, if not altogether crazy, at a time when contemporary Indian art had little or no market. He soon became friends with some of the best-known artists of his time, such as Jamini Roy, A.R. Chugtai, D. Badri, Nicholas Roerich, Sushil Sarkar. In the circle of Ram Babu's artist friends, Sailoz Mukherjee had a special place. A gifted artist and a true bohemian, Sailoz had studied art in Calcutta College of Art as well as in Holland, and had struck his own path away from the dominant Bengal school. He had given up a secure job as art director with the Imperial Tobacco Company to lead the life of an artist. In Delhi, he became the principal of Art College, where he shaped the sensibility of a whole generation of painters. Even Ram Babu, who had never gone to an art college, became a reasonably competent painter under his guidance. By temperament, Sailoz Mukherjee was warm, unpredictable, volatile, irreverent, and indifferent to money. In sharp contrast, Ram Babu was gentle, affectionate, a good host, and had genuine respect for artists. Strangely, despite the differences in their temperaments, they still shared a close relationship.
But do you realize at that point of time, it was not just the need for buying material here, you needed some more solid support. And this could only have come because this is the only venue, the only establishment, Ram Babu's, which was in sight. I don't think there was any other. So Ram Babu just came in sort of handy.
There is no doubt that Sailoz Mukherjee was a very original and distinguished artist. However, it is also a fact that Ram Babu played a crucial role in establishing him in Delhi. The Government of India recognized the contribution of Sailoz Mukherjee in 1978, when the Department of Posts and Telegraph issued a set of 4 commemorative stamps on the theme of modern Indian painting. Sailoz Mukherjee was one of the 4 painters whose works were represented on the postal stamps. The painting of Sailoz that was picked up for the stamp series came from the DHOOMIMAL collection, and the official function for the release of the special stamps was held at the DHOOMIMAL gallery. Several painters, including Sailoz Mukherjee, would leave their drawings and paintings with Ram Babu to show their gratefulness for the favors and help extended by him. In addition, Ram Babu would also buy some paintings for printing greeting cards and to help the artists. A large number of drawings and paintings have thus got collected at DHOOMIMAL. To display these artworks, Ram Babu decided to create a mezzanine floor in his shop in 1938, and thus the original DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery came into being. As the number of visitors to the gallery increased, Ram Babu felt the need for rotating the works and display new paintings. In this manner, DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery became the first gallery of Delhi where art exhibitions began to be held on a regular basis. Artists attracted other creative persons to DHOOMIMAL, and gradually it became a meeting place not only for the artists but also for poets, writers and other intellectuals. DHOOMIMAL also started publishing monographs, portfolios and serigraphs of artists like Jamini Roy, Nicholas Roerich, A.R. Chugtai and Sailoz Mukherjee to introduce these artists to a wider public. This was again done in the spirit of promoting art rather than as a business venture. Ram Babu prematurely passed away when he was only 38 years old. Luckily, the traditions of DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery as a meeting place for the artists and as a platform for promoting art were continued by his sons. After Ram Babu, the responsibility for running DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery passed on to one of his sons, Vijay Kumar. Vijay Kumar, who soon came to be known as Sethji, had more business acumen than his father. In 1964, he established Navina Art Gallery in New York. The name Navina was suggested by M.F. Hussain. The responsibility for the management of this gallery was assigned by Sethji to his younger brothers, Mahendra and Ravi Jain. Simultaneously, he also enrolled Ravi for an art appreciation course in the US so that he could gain an understanding of world art. In Delhi, the DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery continued to organize regular art shows. Sethji had developed close contacts with J. Swaminathan, and on his advice, he also tried to promote new talent. One of these was Vivan Sundaram.
When did you first hold your show at DHOOMIMAL Art Center?
Oh, when I was young and youthful, 41 years ago in 1966, and doing some very wild and provocative paintings. And I think that I have to give credit to Swaminathan, who endorsed it and gave DHOOMIMAL confidence that I could have a show, and he also opened it. So it was for me a very important and memorable moment that this gallery should launch my career.
The gallery in New York was closed for family reasons in 1971, and both Mahendra and Ravi returned to Delhi to look after DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery. Just like Ram Babu, Ravi Jain had also developed a genuine interest in art with the added advantage of exposure to international art. With their experience of New York, Mahendra and Ravi Jain renovated and modernized DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery. Mansaram, whom Ravi had met in New York, had several one-man shows at DHOOMIMAL between 1972 and 1977, and again during the 1980s. Another eminent artist who had his one-man show at DHOOMIMAL in the early 1970s was Krishan Khanna, who had just returned from the US.
Which I think was rather a nice show actually. And I remember the paintings in that exhibition. And it was a very successful show. I mean, monetarily it went well as well. There was a minor fracas, but that's almost inevitable. It didn't last that long, but it was okay.
I'm sure you remember the paintings which were in the show.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
were these paintings?
There were some trucks carrying logs, people being thrown out or being about to be thrown out, jostled out of the... There was that. There were two paintings which I remember very well of politicians. One was of two people sitting at a table with piles of files and talking to each other, but almost jocularly and with no high seriousness, as it were, but with their Gandhi caps on. So I identified the party to which I was referring, you see. So that was the point of reference there. And then there was another painting of a bureaucrat sitting with a telephone, an array of telephones in front of him. And so.
Ravi also revived the tradition set by Ram Babu to informally entertain the artists at the gallery. Sometimes this led to interesting consequences.
So as often as not, we would meet there for lunch, and Ravi would procure the food, which would generally be kulcha and chanas, which was very delectable, very nice. And this wasn't a habit, but it happened with a degree of frequency. And on one occasion, I think we were settling down to eat our chana bhaturas, and in walks the big man himself, Sethji, you see. And he gave Ravi a real talking to. And you're wasting my money, and Jesus. We were in the, can you imagine? We were in the process of eating a kachum, and Sethji says, you're wasting my money. And silence pervaded, Ravi never argued with his Sethji. Ravi would take action, but he would never, with his seniors, he wouldn't do that.
By the mid-1970s, Ravi Jain had effectively taken over the charge of DHOOMIMAL and had started running the gallery according to his own vision. His father, Ram Babu, had tried to develop DHOOMIMAL not only as an art gallery, but as a cultural center, where in addition to artists, eminent writers, poets, musicians and dancers would meet on special occasions. Ravi built on this tradition and infused it with a new vigor. Among the poets who would congregate at DHOOMIMAL were Sarveshwar Dayal Saxena, Prayag Shukla, Kamlesh and Shrikant Verma. In this manner, during the late 1970s and 1980s, DHOOMIMAL became a unique art center in Delhi. During the times of Ravi Jain, leaders like Indira Gandhi, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, I.K. Gujral and Karan Singh came to DHOOMIMAL either to inaugurate or witness different shows. It was truly the golden age of DHOOMIMAL. The main business of promoting and marketing art also flourished. Some of the eminent artists who had a close association with DHOOMIMAL during this period were J. Swaminathan, F.M. Souza, M.F. Hussain, Lakshman Pai, Anjoli Ella Menon, B.C. Sanyal, Satish Gujral, Jairam Patel, Shanti Dave, Manjeet Bawa, Manu Parikh, Shamshad Hussain, Arpana Kaur, Arpita Singh, Paramjeet Singh and Jogen Chaudhary.
Do you have any memories of Ravi?
Yes, I used to meet him every time when I used to go to his place, gallery. He was a very passionate person, very warm personality. I remember that soon you go, he will ask to sit and offer a cup of tea. He will ask his people. Nandu was there. He said, Nandu, bring something, bring, tea or, samosa. He was more friendly than a commercial person. He was more friend than a gallery owner.
It was Mahinder actually who came to me to invite to that gallery. So I joined that gallery and they held my show, which was very good. Ravi Jain was also there. And later that gallery split into two. Mahinder owned one portion and Ravi Jain, and I remained with Ravi Jain there. And there were certain reasons of that. One was this: we were very close to Swami, and there was kind of a friendship, and Swami remained there with Ravi. So, as I remained there, and actually Ravi was very open-hearted.
Two major artists with whom Ravi had a very close and long-term relationship were J. Swaminathan and F. N. Souza. Swami was not just a painter, he was an art critic and an intellectual of leftist persuasion. Swami had the same kind of relationship with Ravi as Sailoz Mukherjee had with Ram Babu. Ravi and Swami's talents were complementary. If Ravi had warmth and organizational skills, Swami was a true intellectual with a critical understanding of the contemporary art scene. His advice gave an intellectual dimension to the activities of DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery and helped Ravi realize that the boundaries between folk, tribal and contemporary art in India were artificial and arbitrary in the Indian context. He also made Ravi aware of the need to create bridges between painters and sculptors on one hand and literary intellectuals and performing artists on the other hand. Even the renowned Mexican poet Octavio Paz, who was a friend of Swaminathan, recited his poems at DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery. Souza was a different cup of tea altogether. Incisive and irreverent in his work, he was completely self-absorbed and very demanding in his personal relationship. Ravi could see in Souza a genius at work and generously indulged his mood swings, his escapades, and his unconventional lifestyle. Ravi went all out to organize a retrospective of Souza and a number of his shows at DHOOMIMAL. Ravi Jain married Uma Mehta on 2nd December 1979. Uma was a practicing lawyer in the Supreme Court. After marriage, she began to divide her time between her law practice and DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery. She did not interfere in the functioning of the gallery, but Ravi would share with her everything that went on in the gallery. Gradually, the artist fraternity attached to DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery came to accept her as a member of their family, and for Uma, art became as much a part of her life as law. 3 years after the marriage, Ravi and Uma were blessed with a son whom they named Uday. The gallery became Uday's second home and playground, and the artist community became his uncles.
I was an infant when I started coming, probably a month old, probably a month and a half old. There are these 3-4 instances which I specifically remember. The first being that I used to love to draw and paint and see some of these old masters that we used to exhibit in the gallery. So once while I was drawing, Swami uncle walked in and he asked me what was I drawing, and I said I'm drawing a Sukhi Aadmi and a Dukhi Aadmi. I remember for my 3rd birthday it was that Manu uncle asked me what do I want for my birthday, and I said I want a train. So there was this huge, I can't remember the exact size, but probably it must be something about 3 by 8 or 2.5 by 8. And he painted a huge train. The following year I got a Superman on asking the same thing for my birthday. After that I remember that at the Kala Mela we had in '86, a lot of artists were not prepared to have their exhibits at Kala Mela, which probably at that time was more, but Souza being the character that he was and being the artist that he was, he prepared to exhibit there with us. And so we had the whole stall at the Kala Mela, which is till today one of the biggest hits. So I remember that there was this huge canvas stretch for him which is 6 feet by 10 feet, and I was standing there and I kept on saying Uncle Red, Uncle Blue, Uncle Pink. And after the work was completed, he went to my parents and he said like this work has been inspired by Uday, so I would like to gift it to him. So my parents said that we won't take it as a gift, but we would take it as his first collection. That till today is one of our favorite paintings besides the Chennai Fair of Selos Mukherjee, which is another one.
The years after Ravi's marriage with Uma were extremely fulfilling for Ravi and very exciting for DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery. Some of the major shows that were organized during the 1980s at DHOOMIMAL were J. Swaminathan's Bird and Mountain series, early watercolors of H.A. Gade, Manu Parik's Banaras series, and a retrospective of Bimal Das Gupta. In 1989, DHOOMIMAL's assets were formally partitioned between Ravi Jain and his elder brother Mahendra Jain's family. DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery now became Ravi's exclusive property. He also took over another premises located in the outer circle of Connaught Place and decided to set up an open-air sculpture court. This was an important milestone, as there was hardly a proper venue in Delhi for the display of sculptures. Well-known sculptors Balbir Kath and Narayan Kulkarni put together the inaugural show of sculptures. Over the years, DHOOMIMAL has acquired the largest number of sculptures in the collection of any gallery in northern India. Unfortunately, Ravi Jain passed away on 29th September 1991, when he was just 50 years old. This was a big shock, not only to the family, but also to the entire art community, who perhaps felt that the long tradition of DHOOMIMAL being a friend of the artists, nourished by Ram Babu and Ravi Jain, would now be difficult to continue.
This atmosphere which Ram Babu and Ravi had created over several decades, did it undergo a change after his sudden death?
Well, in a way, not really a change, but in a way, yes, there was some restrictions in the sense that a lot of new galleries had come by that time, and I also had a multifarious responsibility. I mean, on the one hand, I was a lawyer, so I had part of my practice to look after. Uday was small, he was growing up, and then there were property and gallery and all other things. So I also had my hand in too many things at that time. But all the same, I must say the support that we had from the art fraternity was absolutely unimaginable.
Uma Jain strongly believed that she owed it to Ravi to run the gallery as before. The first show she organized at DHOOMIMAL was a homage to Ravi. The response from the artist community was tremendous. In all, 59 painters participated in the homage show, including painters like B.C. Sanyal and Anjoli Ella Menon. The latter made a special painting for the show. In 1997, DHOOMIMAL organized 50 Years of Independence show. In the year 2000, the gallery put up the Millennium Show. In this show, Uday Jain, who had just completed 18 years of age, curated a special section on Jamini Roy. Uma Jain also decided to set up the Ravi Jain Foundation in 1992 and give annual fellowships to young and talented artists.
The foundation was basically meant to bring in more younger artists. I remember we made this foundation because Raviji was always of the view that if you want the art movement to perpetuate, we should bring in as many new artists as possible. So what we do is that we send about letters to various principals in 20 states more or less, and also we send letters to 5 to 10 senior artists in each state. And we ask them to nominate about 10 artists, and they send the entries. Here we give 3 to 4 fellowships every year. The best part of it that we have really been very happy with and very proud of the fact that a lot of the young people who got the awards or who participated have really become quite a few of them celebrities of today. Like I look at the young artist Himraj, I mean, he was the first recipient of Ravi Jain Memorial Award in '92, and similarly Dharminder Rathore, Arunanshu Chaudhary, there's so many of them.
What I feel, this kind of foundation for the young artists, that is only in DHOOMIMAL who are doing it. And this way they can help the artist.
Due to the determined efforts of Uma Jain and the enthusiastic participation of her young son, DHOOMIMAL Art Gallery has now grown into a vibrant modern gallery with a much larger display space and modern facilities at the DHOOMIMAL Mega Art Center. The gallery is now ready to face the challenges of the changed competitive environment in which art promotion and marketing has to function. Uday Jain has recently taken over the management of the gallery, though he continues to take advantage of the support and advice of his mother.
Umaji, you have had a fairly long journey in the business of art and running the art gallery. Would you like to pass on some thoughts to your son?
You know, according to me, art is such a beautiful thing. It's almost like lifetime possession. That is the message we should be able to give to the people. To say paintings are like your lifetime possession. It's not like share and property which you buy today and sell tomorrow. This gallery has certain traditions, certain culture, which he must keep up, even if today there's more money than what it was before. But we must go on with the same tradition, with the same values, which is father and grandfather.
What is your personal vision with regard to the future of this gallery and its role in the promotion of Indian art?
First and foremost, DHOOMIMAL has been an institution promoting art and artists as a whole. But more than anything else, it has been a meeting place for artists and art-minded people. So my foremost objective will be to carry on this objective further, which my father and grandfather have been doing for so long now. Secondly, I would like the young artists to be promoted, because to move on the 5-10 names which today have been established, but we need to move on from there and also get in some new youngsters who would be the face of Indian art tomorrow.